Pearland High School this year, state and basketball girls, state softball and state baseball, doing some impressive things over there. So at this time, I believe we're going to just go ahead and go into the public comment portion of the meeting. I think we have both people here tonight that have signed up to speak. So we'll go ahead and allow them to speak. So at this time, this is the portion of the board meeting where the board receives input from patrons. Each person who addresses the board will have 3 minutes to speak on his or her issue. In accordance with the new state law, the board must prioritize the comments of those patrons who are addressing specific items on tonight's agenda such that the input is received before the board's decisions are made. Therefore, it is important that each person who signs up to speak clearly indicates on the agenda item in which he or she will comment. Patrons addressing items not listed on tonight's agenda will also be heard, provided that the total time allotted for public comment does not exceed 30 minutes. Because of the topic posting requirements of the Open Meetings Act, board members will not ask questions of the patron and will not answer questions posed to the board by a patron. No action can be taken on any issue presented during this patron comment of the board meeting. Patrons addressing the board will be notified when they are approaching the last 30 seconds of their allotted time to speak. So I believe at this time, the first person we have signed up tonight is Ms. Cindy Dawson. Good evening, Ms. Dawson. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe.
I'll just hold it. That's okay, I'll hold it. That's all right. I'm used to it. I'm good. Thank you. Well, good evening, members of the school board, parents, and fellow community members. My name is Dr. Cindy Dawson. I'm a lecturer at the University of Houston and a former award-winning teacher at Pearland Junior High West. My husband and I have raised 2 children in the PISD school system from kindergarten, and our youngest is a rising senior. I appear before you today to talk about HB 3, a bill that recently passed the Texas legislature that will require an armed presence on every school campus, including all elementary schools. I'm submitting a public comment to urge the board to avoid using the Guardian and Marshall plans. Both of these plans enable teachers, administrators, and staff to bring firearms to schools with only minimal training. I taught for 5 years as a junior high math teacher, and although my campus was run by the very best administrators, staff, and teachers, it was indeed a rare day when everything went according to plan. I know what it is like to step into the hallway to intervene with an at-risk student, only to step back into my classroom to find another student rifling through my belongings on my desk. I also know what it is like to switch classrooms unexpectedly due to maintenance on HVAC systems. To put it simply, school campuses are inherently dynamic, elastic, and unpredictable. That flexibility is what makes schools work. Inserting a gun into such a system, even in the hands of a well-intentioned individual, is foolhardy at best and fatal at worst. Guns are fundamentally unforgiving of even the smallest miss. Research strongly supports the conclusion that when teachers carry guns into schools, children are more likely to access those guns. Incidents appear in the media regularly in which guns brought in by armed adults were misplaced. Guns left in bathrooms, in locker rooms, even a gun that fell out when a teacher did a backflip, which I never did. Bringing guns into schools places students more at risk, not less. Yet another serious concern is the degree to which armed teachers and staff can complicate law enforcement's response to an active shooter incident, which is highly complex. Reports of mass shootings have shown communication errors, narrowly avoided friendly fire incidents, and a lack of coordination. To introduce a new variable, armed teachers, into this equation would serve only to further complicate the law enforcement response.
30 seconds, ma'am.
In conclusion, I firmly believe that PIC should reject the use of Guardian and Marshall programs. Arming teachers and staff poses significant risks to our students' safety and sacrifices the primary focus of our educators. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, our next speaker tonight that is signed up is Ms. Maritza Wong. Good evening.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, well, good evening. My name is Maritza Wong, and I'm a parent of 2 students at Dawson High School. I want to start by thanking Mr. Berger, all of our district staff, and the school board for the work that you do on behalf of our students. I am here tonight to address House Bill 3, recently passed by the state legislature. It includes a provision requiring that there be an armed security officer at every public school campus. However, the state is not funding this mandate, and districts have only 2 months to hire sufficient law enforcement before school starts in August. If a district cannot meet this requirement due to a lack of funding or personnel, it must develop and comply with an alternative standard, which could include arming regular employees, teachers, administrators, and support staff. For 2 basic reasons, I adamantly oppose this dangerous idea that HB 3 may be forcing you to consider. First, there is no evidence to suggest that arming teachers and staff is an effective way to prevent school gun violence. In fact, an armed civilian with a gun can potentially complicate or delay law enforcement response. It was reported that 1 or more employees at the Covenant School in Tennessee carried guns, yet what ultimately neutralized the shooter there was highly trained law enforcement. An educator with a gun and as little as 15 to 20 hours of training does not have the same capabilities as professional law enforcement. We should not place this unrealistic expectation on their shoulders. Second, more guns in schools means more risk for students. In the 2022-23 school year alone, there were media reports of at least 4 incidents in Texas schools of employees authorized to carry guns, leaving them unattended. A Lubbock ISD police officer left a gun in a faculty restroom at a high school. A teacher who was a school marshal at a high school in Granbury left their gun in a teacher restroom. The superintendent of Rising Star ISD left his gun in an elementary school restroom where it was found by a 3rd grader. That student returned to class and notified the teacher, who sent a 2nd student to confirm that the gun was real. An administrator at Waxahachie Preparatory Academy left a gun unattended in a school restroom where it was found by a student. The arming of educators is not normal. There is a reason that schools are gun-free zones under both federal and state law. Beyond the incidents I just mentioned, I have a copy for each of you of a list of every incident of mishandled guns in U.S. schools since 2014, compiled by the Giffords Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence. There are 107, 8 of which occurred in Texas. 5 of those 8 involved an employee authorized to carry a gun. We all want our schools to be safe, but arming teachers and staff is not the right answer. In the face of bad legislation, I implore you to use every tool and resource available to avoid arming those whose role it is to teach, guide, and care for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wong, for your comments. Okay, that will conclude the comment portion of our meeting tonight. I'd like to go ahead and move into the